Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 10th. It is 9 a.m., which means it's time for our regular session meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Council, do we have any additions to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Can you please read our closed session items into the record?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Supervisors. Pleasure to be here, filling in for Regina Garza this morning. We got 3 items on today's closed session. The first one is pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, a conference with labor negotiators. All units are up for discussion this morning. The second item is pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1, and that's conference with legal counsel, existing litigation in the case is Sunday Moore versus the County of Madera. And the third case, or the third item, is pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, 1 potential case up for discussion this morning.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Do we have any public comment in the room or online in regards to our closed session items?
None online.
Seeing no public comment, we will retire into closed session. Thank you. Ominous, man. You left that? It's a little sword. Got you. What'd you do? Ooh, that's no fun. All right. All right, good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m., which means it is time for our regular session of the Madera County Board of Supervisors meeting. Council, do we have any reportable action out of closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. 3 items on this morning's closed session. No action was taken by the board in closed session, and discussion was concluded, so there's no need to continue the matter until after the regular agenda.
Thank you for that. At this time, I'll look to my colleagues for anybody that they would like to open and close the meeting in memory of.
Yes, I would, Chair. I would like to open and close this meeting in memory of Kathy Gray. She is from the Ranchos, and she's married to CHP Officer Gary Gray, and they have 4 kids that also live in the Ranchos. She died of cancer just several days ago, and they were huge. She was a huge part in the community. I coached her son in football, and she was very vibrant and very involved, and she's going to be deeply missed.
Thank you for that, Supervisor. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'm going to invite Pastor Mike Souza with the Harvest Community Church to come up and lead us with the invocation, and I'm going to ask Chief Larry Pendarvis to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, good morning. It's an honor to be here with you all. Let's pray. Life-giving Spirit, we pray for our Board of Supervisors as they meet here today intent on doing good work. Enable them to represent fairly and well those who have given them this task. We pray this morning for the Gray family who has experienced the passing of their family member. I pray that you would just support them as they grieve and go through this time of loss. And Lord, I know they will seek to fill the void that she has left. But Lord, I pray that you would fill them with help them fill this void with their memories of the wonderful blessing she was in their life. May their efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom, and woven together with fairness, kindness, compassion. May they seek to serve with respect for all. May their personal faiths give them strength to act honestly and well in all matters before them. We thank you for your presence here with us and the care you show for your creation and the people you love. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Excellent. Thank you for that. At this time, it is time for public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Do we have any public comment this morning? Looks like a couple folks lining up. Good morning, welcome. I think just hit the green button, the button there, and when it's green, you're good.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Gladys Tellis. I am a proud UDW member and an IHSS provider to my mother, Nubia. I have been a caregiver for over 15 years, and caring for my mother is my top priority. I want to thank you all for recognizing the value of our work by reaching a memorandum of understanding regarding provider wages and benefits. This contract doesn't just address today's needs, it invests in the future of home care. Here in Madera County, we don't just provide care. We provide stability, safety, and dignity so that community members like my mother can remain at home. The agreement will strengthen the IHSS program and help to ensure that our clients can continue being safe, at home and independently. This is about more than numbers on a page. It is recognition of the vital care IHSS providers give to seniors and people with disabilities every single day. Thank you for your time and your continued support. Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is David Rodriguez, and I have been an IHSS provider for my wife for the past several years. Her health, her safety, and her happiness are what matters most to me and my family. I want to thank the Madera County Board of Supervisors for entering a memorandum of understanding regarding IHSS provider wages and benefits. That agreement shows recognition of the essential role we play in our community. IHSS providers are essential workers. We ensure that our clients receive quality care in the comfort and safety of their own homes. We help prevent unnecessary hospital visits and keep our loved ones connected to their communities. But to provide the best possible care, providers themselves must be supported. Our well-being, wages, benefits directly impact the stability and quality care of our recipients. When caregivers are protected, recipients are protected. We appreciate your partnership and your recognition of the important role IHSS providers play in Madera County. Thank you for standing with caregivers and the families who depend on us. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, do we have any additional public comment online?
None online.
Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. All matters are listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted by one motion unless an item is pulled for further discussion by a member of the board. Do we have any items we'd like to pull for further discussion?
Yes, Chair, I would like 7S for further clarification from the Sheriff's Office.
Excellent,
I'd like to pull 7Z, Mr. Chair, as well.
excellent. Thank you.
I just wanted to highlight one, 7Z.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with 7S. I see a member from the Sheriff's Office coming up now. And I will note for the record, we did get a comment letter on 7Q from Dan Metz with the Sierra Sensible Citizens. That will be added to the public record. Mr.
Morning,
Clark?
Board.
Morning.
Jason Clark, Assistant Sheriff at the Sheriff's Office.
Great, thank you. So this is consideration of entering into an agreement with LensLock, Inc. in the amount of $293,000 and some change for body-worn and in-car video equipment and digital management services. I just wanted to get some clarification as far as what system we're currently using, what was the reason for this contract, and cost differences between other programs like Axon or things like that.
Yes. So we're currently using a WatchGuard body cam and in-car camera system, which is a Motorola product. We're moving away from that just for the customer service, the product. They no longer support it. We did test a few different items. LensLock was one of them. Body-worn cameras were another one. And we did look at another product called Axon. The one that was most cost efficient and was equivalent to the Motorola one that we're using, our WatchGuard, was the LensLock. So we are transitioning to LensLock as through attrition. So as old camera systems are going out, new cars are coming in, we're migrating over to the LensLock system. For this contract here, it is for the new cars that are being added to the fleet at this time.
And what are we doing with historical data from the Motorola product?
So that's still stored on we have that in-house, and it's still stored, and we'll still keep it per the requirements.
And if they're not, if they're no longer supporting it, are we still able to send videos and things like that, share those with the DA, and, or how does that work?
Yeah, so whenever we have a request for the body or the footage, we download it to either a thumb drive or put it on the link that we have for them, and we send it to them. We'll still be able to do that as long as it's required to store and give to them.
What was the, and I don't want to put you on the spot, and it's okay, cost comparison with Axon, with lens lock? Do you have any idea? Is it higher, lower?
It's significantly higher. For the 33 one, or set that we have in this contract here, it was approximately about a $200,000 difference, higher,
For both in-car and
for
body-worn?
both in-car and body-worn camera.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
It's kind of hard to hear.
That's very.
Thank you for those questions. Karen, can we turn the mics up a little bit? I think we're having a little difficulty hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I know, I saw you.
All right, 7Z.
Yeah, and I see Deborah here, and I don't have any questions, but I'd just like to ask Deborah to share a little bit about this project. I was really impressed. The veterans have a special place in my heart, so I'm very excited moving forward. But can you share with the public a little bit about this project, Deborah? Please.
Sure. So Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services. What happened is we got our VSO joined our family over in our complex. And as you exit meeting with the VSO, we had space, and I thought it would be a great thing to acknowledge the presence of the VSO office on our campus and have something that we will have for a very, very, very long time. And everybody's pretty excited about it, and everyone has somebody, their immediate family or extended family, that they would really appreciate having the opportunity to thank by purchasing one of these bricks that will form the center of where all our memorabilia will be in regards to the medals of the different service areas.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate the project. Looking forward to seeing that monument there on the campus. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. And Deborah, if somebody wanted to purchase one of those bricks, where would they reach out?
Oh, we will be soliciting.
Okay.
You will be getting something for sure,
Excellent.
and out to the community as well.
And how much are they?
Yeah,
I believe we anticipated that it would be $125. That includes the brick and the imprinting and our ability to have it placed with a mortar.
you've probably thought through all this, but just as a suggestion, it would be a good idea to contact the two VFWs that we have, or there may be more, I don't know. I'm a member of the 9896, and then you have the 1911, and you also have American Legion's posts in several in Madera County. It'd be great to have their input as to what is actually put there, because it is honoring them and
Right, I believe we were in contact, at least one or two of them, and we're using a very simplified way of presenting it. It's cost effective, and it was pretty impressive, and we are gonna be asking our general services to provide some of that work, so that's why it was important to receive your blessings on moving it forward.
I couldn't be happier that you're doing this. I think it's, anytime we can recognize the veterans, we're recognizing the reason that we're free in America, and they've put themselves on the line so that we could be free, and sometimes we just don't really even know what that means unless, and I was just talking to this young man here this morning, an American hero right here who served in a war for our country, was wounded in battle, and we owe them our respect and honor and allegiance. Thank you.
Yeah, particularly right now, we should all have them in our thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
very much.
And I will add, it's great to have the monument there, but I think it's important to recognize as well that putting the VSO inside of our social services department actually provides a higher level of service for those veterans. So really just great work to the social services department, our VSO as well. So thank you for all your work for our veterans. Unless there are any additional comments or questions on the consent calendar, we will look to the, one more?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Sorry, I missed this one, but 7AF, 7 Adam Frank regarding MD10 water system. Just a clarification for the public regarding this project.
Do we have somebody from Public Works?
Public Works.
Morning, Dominic.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
If you could just briefly explain what this project is, Phase
Sure.
2.
This is a change order for Phase 2 on the water project within the Madera Ranchos. So we're in the process of doing a treatment plant or treatment system, and this is furthering the efforts of completing that.
And do we have any time frame? I know that we had some backorder stuff and some issues with panels. Do we have any other time frame on this treatment facility?
So full completion, we're looking at the next 6 to 8 months.
Got it.
And that is separate from the additional water pipeline project that will be forthcoming. So a lot of good improvements out in the ranchos.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Dominic. So at this time, we'll look to the public for any public comment they may have on the consent calendar. Any public in the room or online?
None online.
Excellent. Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Supervisor Wamha.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chair McCauley.
Yes.
The vote passes 4-0.
Excellent. Thank you for that. At this time, we're going to move on to our discussion items, and we're going to start with item 8A.
Board of Supervisors Department. Presentation of a proclamation recognizing the month of March as Red Cross Month.
Excellent. Thank you. This is, I would call it one of my favorite times of the year, but I think it's an important time of year where we take a moment to reflect on some of our emergency services representatives, those folks helping us in our time of need. But it's also a great time to think about how we can prepare for the upcoming fire season, particularly up in the mountain communities and foothill communities of Madera County. So we do have a proclamation here today, and I want to invite Tiffany and Lori up to the podium, perhaps to say a few words in regards to Red Cross. I'm not going to read the whole proclamation here, but I do just want to say how much I appreciate your work, again, in responding to disaster and emergencies in the county. Without your work, you know, our folks, our residents, they wouldn't have that support they need in that time of need. So, Lori, thanks for joining us today. Or Tiffany?
Thank you, Board, for this honor. We are a part of the community. I live in Madera County. I'm the one who responds in the middle of the night to the DAT fires and everything else. We just had that on Red Cross, us as children kind of humanizing us to the public. And so that's kind of our inside joke now. It was me with my curly hair at 2 years old. So we are the people that are a part of your community that want to make it safer and let you guys know that if disaster strikes, we are here to help you rebuild. Only a phone call away. Life happens, but as a community, we can rebuild and make sure we are better and stronger for it. So thank you.
And I just want to say thank you on behalf of our volunteers for recognizing the work that they do. You know, it's not me that responds in the middle of the night. It is Tiffany and our volunteers that do so. I wish that I could, but they don't let me. Although I do help set up shelters when that has to happen. But I also, you know, thank you for recognizing not just the volunteers that respond in the middle of the night, but those folks that support our military members here as well as around the world. They're stationed all over the world on the bases. So when you recognize this proclamation it recognizes all that they do. So thank you for doing that, for seeing them and seeing their dedication and their heart. So on behalf of all of them, thank you.
Excellent.
It's my daughter, Lauren. She also sets up shelters and serves food and snacks whenever things happen.
Excellent. Good morning, Lauren. Did any of my colleagues have any comments, questions, Supervisor?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that this organization was founded by Clara Barton in 1881, and she was a Civil War nurse.
Yep.
Took care of the wounded veterans of the Civil War, and converted her whole house into basically a hospital, stored bandages in the closets and medicines and what have you. So this is a very old organization. It's one of the older organizations in America that's still functioning and serving, continues to provide great assistance to every community that has a disaster. And just want to thank you for being a part of it and making Madera County's Red Cross so preeminent and needed. And we really appreciate the service. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Supervisor. And I will add, similar to with the VSO, we're always looking for ways in which we can improve what we're doing. So recently, actually, our Red Cross has been kind of implanted into our social services department in hopes that, we can provide a higher level of care for residents in the area, not just during a disaster, but after a disaster, because we find that's when, people are most likely to have some confusion about where to look for resources. So very intentional to put our partners in the social services office, again, in hopes of having that higher level of care. So thank you both. Thank you to all of our volunteers, and thank you to staff within the social services department. If it's all right with you, unless you had one more.
Just wanted to also remind you and invite all of you, you've received it via email, but invite you to our Heroes Dinner next week, next Thursday night, where we will be recognizing everyday heroes in our community, to include somebody right from Madera who will receive our highest honor, the Clara Barton Award.
Excellent.
So if you're free, please let me know, and we will get you added to our seating and make sure we have a place for you.
Thank you for that, Lori. And if we can, I'd love to take a quick photo. We'll come down and take a photo with the proclamation. Thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to look to the public for any public comment they may have in regards to item 8B, our proclamation honoring Red Cross Month. Any online?
None online.
Hearing none, we're going to look to item 8B.
County Administration Department, General Services Division, Public Health, Community Wellness Building. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue 25-080 in the amount of $1,017,265 derived from Public Health, Community Wellness - operating transfers into building and improvements for fiscal year 2025-2026. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 25-081 in the amount of $1,017,265 derived from Public Health Health realignment to operating transfers out for fiscal year 2025-2026. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of entering into an amendment to contract number 12175A-25 with Paul Halagian Architects, amending the scope of services and the compensation to an additional amount not to exceed $1,017,265 for the provision of additional conceptual design efforts, and authorize the chair to sign.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Oh, sorry. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joel Bugay, County Administrative Office. With me today is Jorge Mendoza from Kitchell and Amalia Hernandez from the Department of Public Health. We have two slides that we want to share with you today just to give you, explain the reason for the amendment. But a little background. Back in April 2022, Paul Halajian was commissioned to design a two-story community wellness building with approximate size of 18,000 square feet. Roughly a year after that, the county applied through the Department of Public Health for the California Strategic Growth Council's Community Resiliency Grant, Implementation Grant. Public Health was awarded that grant on April 24, 2024, and received $10 million for the design construction of a new community resiliency center. It is at this point that the design and scope has changed from the original that was developed to submit the grant. The one on the left was the original scope. It's a building of approximately 18,000 square feet, and the rest of the site plan is roughly outdoor space. The design on the right reflects a building of 30,000 square feet, majority of which is service space under the CRC model. We kind of want to illustrate the standards for architecture and engineering. So we recognize that $1 million amendment is a large number, but it has to be taken into context. So the first three lines are three examples of architecture engineering contracts that we've had measured relative to the total construction value. Industry standard is between 10 to 15%. Those three projects are in the lower end of that at 11, 12, and 10% respectively. Fourth line is the original agreement with Paul Halajian Architects with a estimated construction value of $16 million. That's the smaller building with a lot of outdoor space. That measures to be 10.7% of construction value. If your board approves the amendment today, that's the last line there, the fifth line. The total construction value would be $30 million, and the total contract, including the amendment, would be 9.10% of the construction value. So well below the industry standards. So we just wanted to highlight that. Now I'm going to hand it over to Jorge just to kind of like share a little bit about the progress of this CRC.
Good morning, Jorge Mendoza, Senior Project Manager with Kitchell. So current process of progress, we're at schematic design. We just completed schematic design level drawings. Here it's highlighting a couple of areas. Yellow area is primarily a public facing area, has video editing capabilities, a lot of production rooms that the community can use. The green area is dedicated to staff. The purplish, bluish area, it's the primary multi-purpose room and areas. That's where we can host evacuation centers. We could set up cots in there. It's on a formal sit-down setting. It could fit 250 people, but on a presentation type setting, chair style, it could fit up to 483 people. And from a evacuation shelter standpoint, depending on how much allocation we do per FEMA standards, 20 square minimum per resident. So at that level, we're able to have 361 residents in an evacuation center. Sometimes there's more space allocation, 60 square feet per person, so that's 120. And then in the lower area, that's the commercial kitchen. There's a lot of things that could happen with this area, and then the warehouse space at the bottom with some cantilever space. Obviously, during non-emergency evacuation settings, that's also going to be used as warehouse space as well. And then here's a current rendering of the facility. The first top area is what you see from Tosher, Road 28, and then that's the bottom areas from the backside where the parking lot is located, and in front of it is not shown, but there will be a community garden space as well. With that, we'll open it for any questions you guys may have.
I thought it was, I just couldn't remember.
Thank you for the presentation. Looking to my colleagues for any questions, comments they may have. I guess one question I have is I'm just curious as to why are we increasing the size of the facility? What's the rationale behind it?
So so before, there was no, it wasn't, the original plan was not considered for an evacuation center. It did not have the warehouse space that it requires for the CRC. The CRC grant requires to have X amount, a certain amount of space.
I guess, I mean, I expressed my frustrations around this previously when we saw this item. I just don't see this ever being used as an evacuation center. So, I mean, when the primary evacuation point for Madera County is in Oakhurst and the facility is dilapidated, it's falling apart. I mean, we just had Red Cross in here talking about this. Like, I have a real problem with investing all this money on a quote-unquote evacuation center in the city of Madera. I mean, I understand, you know, there's a possibility of floods and those sorts of things happening down here in the valley. But I think we can all agree that, you know, it's much more likely that we're going to have, you know, some sort of forest fire that's going to cause evacuations up in District 5. And they're not going to come down here. They're going to open up an evacuation point in Oakhurst, and they'll be in a facility that doesn't have proper HVAC, doesn't have proper, you know, it's just frustrating. So I don't see the need to spend all these additional dollars on a evacuation center in the city of Madera. I don't see the need. So I know that's just my thoughts, but well, any other comments from the board?
I would like to dovetail off of that, not to necessarily put the project down, but from a money standpoint, obviously, is this something a use it or lose it type of grant? Spending this extra money, this is all part of the grant, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
And,
so there's a time frame.
Now, was this like something that could have competed with an evacuation center or rehabbing something up in the mountains?
You know, I'm not sure how we could answer, I'm not sure we're prepared to answer that question. I think if Amalia can provide a little background on the application process and the thought process on that. Yeah.
And this is why I ask, because if we're looking at an evacuation center or if we're just adding an asset and it doesn't cost anything extra and we're not competing against ourselves where it's probably, I don't think there's any dispute that it's more needed in another area. So that's really what my question is. Were we competing against ourselves or weren't we?
So I wasn't here for the process of applying for this grant, but my understanding is when we originally put the proposal in, it was a smaller scale. What made us more attractive for the funder was the addition to the emergency center. And so I will say that while it might not be utilized at a day-to-day, we are working with partners to build more programming around there. So we're working with workforce development so that there be training potentially around LVNs, medical, as well as the kitchen. And so that is where we're at with that. In terms of whether we were competing, I cannot answer that question.
Okay, yeah, I understand that you're working around programming and all the other things that are involved with that, but to make the grant more attractive, you included the evacuation piece, right? So my question is, were we negligent in our location instead of you know, doing all this elaborate stuff here where I think we can all agree it's rarely going to be used as any evacuation point?
Right. And like I said, the selection of where we were having the center wasn't something that I was part of. What I can say is we're really trying to make this a place to connect our community. And so that is where we're leaning a lot so that it's used throughout the years, not just during emergencies.
Yeah, I'm not disputing, you know, all the good things that it's going to do, and that's not what I'm disputing. I think a main linchpin of the grant approval was hinging on an evacuation center or that safety piece. And I think this is where you're getting at with frustration, where if we're going to build a new building where its linchpin is around an evacuation center or you know, that type of emergency services, it should have been better spent where it's needed the most. And I think that's the frustration, and I share that frustration as well, because, you know, if we're if we're looking at all these locations, where would our residents be best served? I think we can all agree it would be best served in the mountains. And so it's one of those things, I think, from a director standpoint, or when we're putting in these applications, probably should have been more collaboration around, hey, if we're going to hang our hat on this grant application with being an emergency services evacuation area, where would it best be suited? Did I accurately
Yeah, and I just.
say that?
And I was here, and there were competing applications, and we talked about this the first time we saw this item, and now we're seeing the item again, and there's additional funding being allocated to this project where the evacuation center up in Oakhurst still remains unaddressed, right, those concerns. And so the additional funding needed to expand this to have an evacuation center, where is that funding coming from? Because I don't see that listed in our presentation.
Yes, it would be public health dollars that would be transferred for that.
And so those public health dollars, they couldn't be used on another facility, like to improve an evacuation center?
A part of the grant was for us to leverage the funding that was provided for this building, and it was decided that we would invest in the building.
I guess it's unclear to me whether or not those funds could be used for a similar project at a different location. So that's what I'm curious to know.
I think the local funding your board controls, the local funding that's going to this project your board controls. I think the thing that would be put at risk by revisiting the siting of this is the $10 million, because those were approved with these plans and with this location. So I think those are just our 2 cents on it. But your board controls the public health funding ultimately that gets allocated to the project.
So help me understand that with the original design that we approved back in, what, 2024? Yeah, April 24. That design's not sufficient, and if we stick with that design, we're going to lose the $10 million from. So I don't understand how we ended up with that design in the first place if it's not sufficient. So I'm just.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, on this item, certainly a lot of good feedback and questions by the board. I know we have timing associated with this item, but I do feel like perhaps a pause and bring this back at our next available board meeting may make some sense for us to try to dive into some of these questions that we can bring back to the board with firm answers as far as funding commitments and ability to pivot. If that is a legitimate option, I would just offer that at this juncture to perhaps shelve this item and we bring it back next month.
I appreciate that thought process, and I'd love to get the thoughts from the rest of the board. I would just say, when we're looking at the Oakhurst Community Center, we're not looking at, a $30 million project. We're looking at some very minor investments that would allow our residents to breathe clean air when they're being evacuated in a fire emergency, and that's not crazy, right? That's a public health issue, right? And I think we all understand the impacts of wildfire smoke on public health, and those are the folks at their biggest time in need. So I appreciate the thought, Mr. CAO, and if we're able to figure something out, that'd be wonderful. So, Supervisor?
Yeah, I just, where's the match coming from on this?
I don't believe it was a match.
Okay. Also, did we talk with EMS on this? And they have registered facilities throughout the county, and the coordination of the plan is very, very important aspect of everything. I do agree with my colleagues that, the need is probably greater in another part of the county. And I would hate to be duplicating again down here, not that we can't use more space, but I would hate to be duplicating. We just dedicated a gymnasium facility in Fairmead that has a large commercial kitchen, the ability to house, I would say 300-400 people easily, exactly that, and that would be a facility that would probably be registered with EMS eventually as an evacuation facility. So we've got all these things going on in the valley floor, and while that's good to have that space available, the only place I can remember in my entire tenure being evacuated was the mountains. And we've got to do something in that regard. I think it just highlights that need even more, not to belittle the effort at all, but just highlighting where the need is. Anyway, thank you.
So to
Sheriff,
answer
if I
your
may.
question, we have coordinated with Sergeant Joseph Wilder with the Sheriff's Office and got input as best layout for when it was supposed to be used as an evacuation center. And then to answer Supervisor McCauley's question, the previous design did not meet the CRC requirements. It was primarily focused on office space. It was initially was relocating WIC to that area and other programs, but it was not. If we stick with the previous design, it would not meet the Strategic Growth Council's grant requirements.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know that Sarah and her team have had several meetings with stakeholders, so I don't want to diminish any of that, but perhaps having some more folks from the mountain area would be beneficial to your future planning, because that is maybe something that didn't come up during that process, but I would encourage you guys to include Supervisor McCauley and his staff in that. So, thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, I know it doesn't preclude the facility from being used by mountain folks, but it's the distance that I wonder about, and the immediate availability of the facility. Sometimes when you have a disaster at home, psychologically you want to be close to home. You want to be where you can respond if there's some kind of situation that you need to respond to. It's just really important to people to be close to home. So proximity is really an important thing. I'm just thinking out loud here. I know the sheriff probably knows a lot more about all of the propensity for that than I do, and he could speak to it with, and I'm glad you consulted with them. I think that was the right thing to do, so thank you.
We'll bring back the item with revisiting these questions that were raised today, and including probably what hasn't been discussed is, if it were to be in the mountains, it's a 2.4 acre site, so potential areas where it might go. So.
Thank you. And Supervisor, do you have another comment?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm really not interested in tabling this item. I think the ship has already sailed, quite honestly. And that's not to diminish this project, because I don't want to diminish this project. I think it is a good project. I think what really needs to be discussed moving forward, especially on a director level, when we are submitting these types of grants, we need more collaboration with our staff and our board regarding priorities, because just like Supervisor McCauley mentioned, we had competing grants for this money. And I think if this board was more involved in that process, we would have directed staff to put efforts towards another type of grant that we believe would have been more useful. Instead of, I do believe that public health puts a very, very large emphasis on the city of Madera. It's not to say it's not needed, but I do feel that they put too much focus right here in the city, and more particularly on the east side. And I want better representation throughout the county. And that, I think, is the origin of all of this. We want more collaboration and more input on our side before. So I think this is more of a venting session than diminishing the project at this point. So, with that being said, I wouldn't necessarily care to table this. I just wanted I wanted to be heard when it comes to collaboration earlier on.
Any additional comments, Mr. CAO?
The only comment I would make is, regardless of what the board's direction, I think, or decision on this specific item, I think we have some pretty clear message that we've heard, and I think we can, regardless of this item, come back with some items to work on and some priorities to look at other opportunities for funding improvements throughout the county on evacuation centers.
Thank you for that. Appreciate your comments, but if it's all the same, I'd love to, I mean, if we're not going to risk losing the funding by seeing this in early April, then I would love to bring it back, just so we can have a conversation around this and how it could look.
I mean, I'm going to have Jorge speak to the timeline. We are on a tight timeline, so I don't want to say definitely that it won't be at risk, but yeah.
Really, it's basically having our architect continue design. They can elect to stop design until they get a contract approval. So we may lose a month or so if they choose to. That's a conversation I need to have with them. I suspect they were going to continue to work on it, giving them an update that you want to see it back in April. So it's not a high risk at this point, I don't think. Because we do have funding already allocated to cover any costs they incur, should the board elect to stop the project or, you know, whatever you guys decide to do. Our current schedule has us completing the design around August. I think we are fast-pacing the design process. So again, I don't think it's a high risk, but definitely a risk.
Okay.
We have some off-ramps, so if we do move forward, would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think what I'm more hopeful to have is just a conversation with public health staff around current design and current funding sources and whether or not those are fully committed to this project and if anything could be shifted again to another project. You know, we're not estranged to value engineering our projects and trying to squeeze some dollars out. So that's kind of the conversation I'd like to have with public health staff is how can we look at this project and you know, the other project that was mentioned and see if there's a way to have our cake and eat it too, so to speak. So I don't know if that's possible. It sounds like it's not a high-risk maneuver. I would imagine CVC or the S2J2 would entertain an extension if we got into a difficult situation. So it doesn't sound like it's a high risk.
Yeah, I think one of the questions that we would be pursuing is that could we redirect the 10 million to an evacuation center at a different site, let public health then fund the, you see what I'm saying? It's like.
And I don't want that. I'm not saying that we scrap this entire project. I'm just trying to, because again, when we saw this project back in April, I said the same thing. I said, hey, we need to ensure that we're looking at everything and we need to ensure that, you know, we're taking under consideration, you know, some of our high value assets, which is, in my opinion, the community center up in Oakhurst. And so it was at that time that I thought, you know, what we had just talked about, that the message was heard loud and clear, but we haven't had any traction in getting that facility, you know, moving in the right direction from my perspective. And so I would love to pause this project for a moment, have a conversation around it, see if there is an opportunity again to do both, and then move forward if that is at all possible.
I have one comment. If we continue with funding on this project with our existing public health dollars, does that preclude revamping the Oakhurst site? Or are we looking at a finite number of dollars within public health?
It's a finite amount of dollars, but if I want to make sure I understand the question. If you remove the evacuation center component from this project in the valley, could public health dollars continue to fund the remainder of the building? Is that the?
No. If we move forward with the evacuation center as it is right now, what available public health dollars could be used to revamp the Oakhurst Center, or is there?
Yeah, I think,
We have to evaluate to see what we have, but in the next meeting, we can have further information for you on that.
Okay. And if we're not at risk of losing anything, or if you call it a low risk, because really, we wouldn't even need to pause S2J2. It's really, we have an architect schedule through August, correct? So we don't need to do anything with the grant between now and then?
Again, like I said, it's, I need to have a conversation with architects saying, because right now they're working under good faith without the revised, they're working under the original contract for an 18,000 square facility, but obviously they're working on a 30,000 square foot facility.
But we already have funding towards them to fund at least another month, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
so we should be good?
Correct, and again, that's a conversation. I suspect that Paul Halaj is gonna say, yeah, we'll keep going, we understand. But again, that's the technical, from a legal standpoint, they're working on a previous contract for a previous design.
Right, okay. I'm good then, thank you.
Any additional comments, questions from the board? Hearing none, we're going to look to the public for any public comment they may have in the room or online.
None online?
Seeing none, we're going to bring it back to the board. Looks like,
Yeah. Were we going to table this?
it sounds like we're going to table it. I just want to give my colleagues an opportunity if they want.
So we don't have a meeting next week. We have,
We don't have a meeting until April.
It'll be April.
so that puts us really in a quandary unless we're going to have an extra meeting.
No. They basically said it doesn't put us, we're at very low risk by tabling
We can
this to our
absorb
April
the
meeting.
month.
We can absorb that time?
Yeah. It's not without risk, but it's a low risk at this point.
Okay,
I'll move to table the item till the following meeting.
I'll second
second.
that.
Thank you for that. Do we need a vote to table the meeting? Table the item?
If you're continuing to a date certain, it sounds like it's the next available meeting, then that's fine.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
We're going to table that until April the 7th.
Thank you, Board.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move on to our public hearings, and we're going to start with item 9A.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, Quad 7 LP rezone, hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance for a general plan amendment 2025-007 from agricultural exclusive to light industrial business park. Discussion consideration to adopt a resolution approving general plan amendment 2025-007, Quad 7 LP, and rezone 2025-007, and the determination of exemptions from the California Environmental Qualities Act. This project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Under CEQA Guidelines Sections 15061, review for exemption. B3, as can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that this project may have a significant effect on the environment. Excuse me.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Jamie Bax, Community and Economic Development. With me is Annette Kephart, Brian Guerrero from my office as well. So just a brief overview of what the application includes. As you can see here, it's on the north side of Avenue 12 and Road 32, just southeast of the city of Madera. It includes a general plan amendment and a zone change. The application includes a zone change from the current agricultural rural exclusive 40-acre district to a planned development district. Just a brief overview of the planned development district. Anything in that zone district does require a conditional use permit. There is no project included at this time, and it will have to be consistent with the proposed underlying general plan designation of light industrial. As mentioned, this project is exempt from CEQA because of the fact that there is no project included. As we see projects moving forward, we will identify those issues and impacts. You can see here it straddles basically the Santa Fe line, north side of Avenue 12. It is currently ag exclusive in its general plan designation. You can see the lines there just to the west, the specific plan designation for the Madera Community College that we're working on currently. You can also see to the south there is a lot of heavy industrial designation already and light industrial, so it's consistent with that area. And on the zoning map, you can also see that heavy industrial zoning designation to the south as well. Project site is currently planted in orchards that will remain until such time as development occurs. Just a brief analysis, it is 507 acres of the total 577 acres. A condition of approval is, there is no development as a part of this project. As we see development, they will be required to process a conditional use permit, and we will identify impacts at that time. It is currently utilized for agriculture. As mentioned, the Santa Fe line does bisect this parcel. We are working on the specific plan, movement of the Amtrak station to that location, so we are taking all of those things into consideration. Perimeter roads are Road 32, Avenue 12, and Avenue 13, predominantly surrounded by agriculture and heavy industrial to the south. The Planning Commission did recommend 4-0 in favor to your board this item, and staff is recommending adoption of the resolution, CEQA exemption, and the general plan amendment and rezone. I'm available for any questions you might have. The applicant team is also here if you have any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. At this time, we're going to open the public hearing, and I will look to the board for any questions, comments they may have. Seeing none, we're going to look out to the public. Any public comment in the room or online?
None online.
All right, hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and we will look to the board for action.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair McCauley?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you for that. Let's move on to item 9B.
Community and Economic
Chair?
Development.
If I may interrupt, I always like to acknowledge former electeds, and I'd like to
Yes.
recognize former Supervisor Perea from Fresno County. Welcome to the chambers.
Good to see you, Henry. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Karen.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division. Minarets Crossing LLC, rezone O'Neill's Area Plan Amendment. Hearing to consider an adoption of an ordinance for O'Neill's Area Plan Amendment 2025-009 from resource conservation and public land to rural commercial to align with the general plan designation of community commercial. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution approving the application of the Minarets Crossing LLC for rezone 2025-003 from planned development district to commercial urban median and O'Neill's area plan amendment. Further environmental review of the project is not required under the California Environmental Qualities Act as aligned in section 15162, subsequent EIRS and negative declaration of the CEQA guidelines. The proposed amendment will not lead to any new significant environmental impacts and subsequent increase in the severity of previously identified impacts. The project remains consistent with mitigated negative declarations number 2010-13 and mitigated negative declarations number 2020-24.
Thank you, Karen. Jamie?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jamie Bax again, Community and Economic Development. As you can see here, the project site is located on the northeast corner of Road 200 and Highway 41 in O'Neill's. Just a brief overview of what we're doing or what the applicant has applied for. Originally, the site was rezoned similar to what we had discussed before to the Planned Development District. There were a whole slew of technical studies that were prepared at that time and analyzed. Impacts and mitigation measures were identified, which the project has taken into consideration. So they are proposing to rezone this property to the Commercial Urban Median District to allow for those uses by right. Those would be retail sales and customer service, professional offices. More extreme uses would still require a conditional use permit, which our Planning Commission and your board would take consideration of. So in addition to that, this is also a bit of a cleanup item. We are proposing to amend the O'Neill's area plan to the rural commercial designation to make it consistent with the underlying general plan designation of community commercial. As mentioned previously, there have been analysis done on this project, which we are considering still useful, and they are still obligated to meet all of those mitigation measures and conditions of approval from the previous analysis. As you can see here, the general plan did map it as community commercial. The next shows it basically to be consistent with that underlying general plan designation to be the rural commercial. designation. The next map does show the zoning of PDD, which it is being proposed to be changed to the commercial urban median. I did go over many of these facts, but basically the fact that we had already prepared environmental analysis, making the general plan consistent. The property had already been divided in the past, which the Planning Commission did consider and adopted a mitigated negative deck at that time. Gas station, the Planning Commission considered as well. So again, we've analyzed this project quite a bit over the years. The Planning Commission in February did recommend approval by a 4-0 vote to your board of the project, and staff is recommending adoption of the resolution incorporating the CEQA component and the project. And we're available for any questions. The applicant is here to answer any questions as well.
Thank you for that, Jamie. We're going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and I will look to my colleagues for any comments, questions they may have. Seeing none, I do want to thank you, Jamie, for all your diligence with this project. I know you guys have been working on it for a long, long time. And similar to Supervisor, I always like to recognize Brad Ditton whenever he's in the room. So hi, Brad. Good to see you this morning. With that, we're going to look to the public for any public comments they may have in regards to this item. Do we have any online or in the room?
None online.
All right, seeing none, we're going to bring it back and we're going to close the public hearing, and I'll look to my colleagues for action.
Move to approve?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chair McCulley.
Yes.
The vote passes 4-0.
Thank you for that. We're going to move to item 9C.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division here to consider an application of SWS Fuel, Inc. for the letter of public convenience and necessity to upgrade from a Type 20 to a Type 21 off-site general license to allow for the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits at a convenience store. The property is owned by SWS Fuel, Inc. and is located on the northwest corner of Highway 99 and Avenue 7, 32685 Avenue 7 in Madera, APN number 048-191-001 is zoned Planned Development District.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jamie Bax again, Community and Economic Development. With me is Jacob Aragon and Martha Ring, brand new planner with our department. I'd like to introduce her. So again, this project is located on the north side of Avenue 7, just west of Highway 99. They are requesting a change in their liquor license, basically from a Type 20 to a Type 21. This would be for off sales, meaning they cannot consume them on the property. As labeled here, it is a highway service commercial designation for the general plan, and the zoning does have a planned development district, zone district. So any new uses would require a conditional use permit moving forward. But this is already an established business. As you can see here, the census tract is quite large. I'm assuming that will change in years to come, but it is quite large, and you can see the existing licenses are spread all the way to the west side onto 41. And then you can see here, there are no other, within this radius, the 2-mile radius, there are no other licenses issued. So as required by ABC at the state, they are required to go through this process. It's basically, again, going from Type 20 to Type 21, nothing new other than the distilled spirits. With that, staff does recommend approval of this. We did send out hearing notifications for this item as required by state law. Again, available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. We're going to open the public hearing, and I'll look to my colleagues for any comments, questions they may have. Seeing none, we're going to look to the public for any public comment in the room or online.
None online.
Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing and look to the board for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhoff?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair McCulley?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Excellent.
Thank you
Jamie.
very much.
With that, we're going to move on to pending legislation. Mr. CAO?
County Administration Department discussion and consideration to authorize a letter of support for SB 922 as introduced by Senator Laird, which would clarify and reaffirm longstanding local authority related to the recovery of street maintenance and repair costs associated with providing essential public services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, your County Administrative Officer. So the pending legislation before you is Senate Bill 922. It's authored by Laird. It has been supported by RCRC and CSAC and League of Cities as well. And it deals with the ability of local agencies to place a fee or a cost on our solid waste haulers associated with the street maintenance of our road network. So here requesting support to send that up to the legislation.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll look to the public for public comment in the room or online.
And none online.
Hearing none, we're going to bring it back for action.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. Motioned?
I think we had a motion from
Okay.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
Supervisor Wamhoff?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Chair McCully?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Excellent. So we're going to look for supervisor and staff reports, and we'll start with Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I had a lot of meetings in District 2 with development. There is a lot happening, as you can see by this morning's actions. So we dedicated a new gymnasium facility in Fairmead, brand new facilities, quite nice, large, much needed in that school district for some time as far as Fairmead goes. So it's really a big boon for them, for the community there. And then also we dedicated a new concession stand at the Little League Park in Chowchilla, and that was done largely with private funds donated from individuals, dedicated to the moms who have served the community for years at concession stands. So very worthy nominees or honorees, let's say, and a great project. My boys literally grew up on those fields playing baseball and football and soccer, and so it's a blessing to the community for a long time to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
I attended the first 5 commission meeting last week, and I was invited by Supervisor Wamhoff to attend the chamber, the Ranchos, or Golden Valley Chamber crab feed, so thank you for the invitation. Also, last week was Employee Appreciation Day. I don't think we need a day. I think every day is Employee Appreciation, so thank you to the staff of Madera County that keeps us going. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that, Supervisor. Supervisor Wamhoff?
Yes, did want to mention crab feed, and part of the report out requirement is that the county did purchase a table and invited our county folks out, and we had a great time. Benefits Golden Valley Chamber of Commerce, which does a lot of good work within the community. I do also want to note that I will be having a coffee and conversation town hall style March 25th at the Ranchos Library at 9 a.m. I rotate between morning and evening events to get the retired folks out and also the working folks out. So I rotate between those, but the next one will be March 25th, 9 a.m. at the Ranchos Library. That's all I have.
Thank you, Supervisor. Karen?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Mr. Council?
Nothing to report. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. CIO?
Just one couple minor things. I also had the opportunity to attend the Ranchos Crab Feed, so thank you for that. And also to report, I'm looking at our Public Works Director, not to steal his thunder, but the bid protest period for our State Route 41 project ended yesterday with no bid protests submitted, so.
Is that good?
That's about a $24 million cost savings over our construction estimate we had on the bids there, and they were all very competitive within a couple million of each other. So we'll be bringing that contract forward for the board's consideration with YARBS here next month.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I do want to announce that we have a groundbreaking ceremony planned for March 27th at 11 a.m., 14277 Road 28 in Madera, and that will be for the Madera County Youth Adult Crisis Stabilization Unit and Adult Sobering Center. So get that on your calendar. Hope to see you all there. If you need more information, please reach out to the clerk's office, and we will get that information over to you. I also want to make sure the public is aware that last Tuesday, I went up to Chico to be installed on the Sierra Nevada Conservancy Board. Then on Thursday, we had the opportunity to give away just about $9 million in grants, including about $1 million to the Sierra National Forest, which is going to be a great project in keeping folks in and around the Sierra National Forest safe from wildfire. So great organization, excited to see what they do next. With that, this meeting is adjourned. We'll be back at 1:30 for IHSS.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good job, Chairman.